Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the 2019 War of the Ring World Championship match. My name is Will, and I'll be running through this game with you and hopefully adding some useful commentary. I'll also be trying a new format of having one video instead of what I usually do, breaking them down into 20-minute parts. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments below. 2 to 3 20-minute videos or one long video. Alright, let's get started. In this championship game we have the returning 2018 champion, PeterM, as the Shadow player playing against a newcomer to the tournament, FaultyLogic as the Free People player. As we get started, I've already shown the starting two cards that they've drawn. Faulty has drawn a Power Too Great and the Ents Awakened. Peter has Many Kings of the Service of Mordor and Lore of the Ring. Here you can see the rolls that they rolled. Power Too Great is a great card. It allows the elves to protect themselves with a Palantir instead of a useful muster, and it forces the Shadow player to get rid of this card by getting rid of a strategy card. So of course, Faulty plays it right away, gets the elves one down. However, usually I like to hold on to this card until they're right outside of the elven strongholds. One, because it can come as a surprise factor, so if the Shadow doesn't have a strategy card, then they'll have to draw or wait another round before they can attack, giving the elves another turn to muster themselves up to war or to put another elite into a stronghold. By playing this right away, this gives the Shadow information on whether or not they need to save those precious strategy cards to get rid of or to play. But another reason why he played it is there was no other card that he could play, and with Gandalf being the guide, you're going to want to draw as many strategy cards as possible, in the early rounds at least. And he draws the Power of Tom Bombadil, which is its counterpart, which protects the Shire, Buckland, and the Old Forest. Great two cards to draw as strategy cards in the beginning. Peter does the standard, gets Isengard to war, hopefully bring out Saruman next round. He unfortunately did not roll a muster, so he's going to have to wait for that. And of course, Shadow draws a strategy card, hoping to get rid of Power Too Great eventually, and to see what other strategy cards he can draw to hopefully muster in other Sauron strongholds or even the Sutherlings or Isengard strongholds. He draws Eomer off of the draw of Gandalf's ability from playing the Power of Tom Bombadil. Pretty standard move, moves from Barad-dûr to Gorgoroth, moves Gondor down one. Very standard, moves the army from Gorgoroth into Morannon, moves the elves down one more, and then moves the army up into Dorkland. Second round, they draw the Red Arrow and the Grey Company. The Shadow draws the Ringwraiths Are Abroad and Stormcrow. So potentially Peter can play Stormcrow and get the elves pushed up one more, which is really interesting in that they'll have to decide which leader or regular unit will be destroyed through its effect. As a Free People player myself, I usually like to kill off this one regular in the Grey Havens. This will significantly weaken the Grey Havens area, but this area rarely ever gets attacked anyways, and by getting rid of a regular, it'll give another downgrade option if the Shadow ever decides to attack Woodland Realm or Lorien and they've mustered an elite there. So, or that card may not even ever be played. So, let's see what Peter decides to do. He allocates 0 eyes and rolls 1. Since the Fellowship did not move that round, he did not have to allocate any eyes. Of course, usually when you have a Palantir and Gandalf is a guide, you want to play your cards right away just to see the options that you have. That may give a little bit more information to the Shadow, but this way, as a Free People player, your options are so limited, you're going to want to see all of them as soon as possible. Peter plays the Many Kings of Mordor. This is a great card. This allows him to recruit 2 Sutherling and Easterling units in any 3 settlements. Usually my choices are the North Rune and the South Rune, as there's already a full 10 army here. And yep, he does exactly that. Free People Smiley passes again. It looks like there's going to be another do attack. It looks like he's going to take the army from Moria to combine them with the army from Dol Guldur to attack Lorien and bringing this 10 army into the Woodland Realm. Free People player passes again. He slowly marches. He decides to finally move the Fellowship. Rolls a 3, he's safe. And he brings in Saruman. Free People moves again. Oh, and he rolls a 6. And he rolls a 0 reveal, which is not bad. It's not the worst. And here he decides to go into the High Pass instead of Holland. Usually, if I don't get revealed on the 3rd movement and I do not end up in Moria, I always end up just moving myself to Holland just because it's 1 fewer space getting into Mordor instead of going through here, which already the Shadow player looks like he's already moving towards. So if he's scared of having units there, he's going to end up having units by the Fellowship when he goes up here anyways. So usually on the 2nd move, I go into Holland, but you know, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's really early in the game. And he is revealed. And he Peter decides to use his double army move action instead of playing the Lord of the Ring first. I think here it doesn't really matter which action you do first. I don't think Faulty uses a ring to change this into a character action to hide himself. So here it looks like Faulty just moves one guy from Carrick into the Old Forest Road, hopefully to activate the Northmen by having the Shadow attack, and moving the one regular from Iron Hills to Erebor, reinforcing Erebor. And the Shadow decides to use a character to move Nazgul instead of to play Lord of the Ring. I guess maybe for me, I think I would play Lord of the Ring first, just because I don't know when's the next time I'll be able to play this if he ever gets revealed next turn. And by playing this, I'll have a chance of sniping either Strider or Boromir, which are the two best targets as of right now to snipe. 2 out of 7. I mean, I don't know. I think I would rather play this card than move Nazgul, but maybe he doesn't roll. He's hoping for a non-character result from the Free People player, which is highly unlikely, but we'll see. He draws the File and Thranduil's Archer, which is just in time for the attack on the Dew. The Shadow draws the Litless Eye. It's not a very good card. Not even at the end game, it's not very good. Threats and Promises, another very underwhelming card. Hopefully, it seems like there'll be cards that they'll be discarded or used for the Witch King to recycle. Here, smartly, of course, very standard. If you're ever revealed and Strider is still in the Fellowship, you're going to want to switch him to the guide right away, and that way you can use any action die to hide him. He allocates 1 eye, as the rules say that if they moved previously, they're going to have to allocate at least 1. He rolls 2 additional, and the Free People immediately hides the Fellowship. He brings Sauron to war, preparing an attack on the Old Forest Road. Fellowship, the Free People player pass, and he attacks Old Forest Road. And without a muster, it seems like the Witch King will not be joining them this round. He plays Scouts, gets that 1 additional regular into Woodland Realm, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in the long scheme of things, that can affect things, because 6s are hard to roll, especially when you really need them. Here, the Fellowship just moves right away. I think pretty standard. If you can move, might as well just move. Or actually here, since he has 2 Palantir, I think I would have considered maybe mustering one other nation towards war. In this case, I don't know, maybe the dwarves or something else. Since he has 2 Palantirs, if you get revealed, you allow the Shadow player to play those character cards that can affect the Fellowship. And he ends up rolling a 6 and a 5 for 1 damage. He just ends up taking it. It doesn't make too much sense. Not too much sense. It is a risk to gamble Strider on a 1. So I think taking it is... I think I would take it as well. Here, the Shadows, if he attacks the Woodland Realm, he also brings the Northmen to war. And without a muster, it makes no sense to attack them yet. Or attacking the Woodland Realm, since that'll give them mustering opportunities in Dale and Carrick. Here, Peter attacks Dale, so he doesn't want this fortification. But then again, it also, if he doesn't end up killing the 1 regular here, it'll reinforce Woodland Realm, and Woodland Realm will then become quite the stronghold versus the 1 elite, 1 regular previously. I guess here he would be using Great Hosts to getting the automatic hit, is my guess. Strategy card 2, so that lines up pretty well. He ends up taking it with the 1. Musters the 1 in Carrick. Here, Peter draws another strategy card. Mustering of a long-planned war. He plays the Ring Wraiths Are Broad. Great card. This way he can capture Carrick, and there will be no more mustering opportunities for the North, at least in the Dew area. He'll still be able to reinforce here. He moves a Nazgul smartly here, so to avoid, if the Fellowship does decide to declare, he'll just be in another Nazgul. Here, Desperate Battle is played in an advantageous position. He guessed correctly, so only the reroll will have the extra addition to the dice. Faulty rolls a 6, 1 and a 6, 1 hit. Peter rolls 1 hit as well. Oh, 2 hits actually. Oh, because advantageous position. His combat roll does not turn into a hit, so 1 hit. And it looks like Peter does not decide not to push the attack, fearing that if he does decide to press, the North can decide to retreat into northern Mirkwood or the western Mirkwood, and the next turn he can decide to move into the Woodland Realm, bring this into a 2 elite, 2 regular army, which would be very hardy. And of course, he doesn't know that he has Thranduil's archers as well, making this stronghold very hard to take. Here, round 4, he changes Gandalf back to the guide since he's no longer revealed and doesn't make sense to have that. And he has plenty of cards here to play too as well, so he's going to want those extra card draws. Allocates 1 eye. He decides to declare in Goblin's Gate to try to prevent any cards that say play if the Fellowship is 1 or higher on the track, which in this case, the Shadow doesn't, but usually, good choice. Here, Peter decides to destroy Power Too Great, getting rid of Denethor's Folly, and here, Faulty moves the Fellowship. He fails, he doesn't take it. Here, finally, Peter just says, you know what, you can muster in Carrick. I'm going to attack the Woodland Realm. This army is also still very small, but with the mustering card from the first round, he has a good Easterling army coming here to help reinforce. And he also sees that the Free People has no other musters, so that he doesn't have to worry about the Carrick army just yet. Here he plays the File of Galadriel, draws another character card with Gandalf's ability. Here, smartly, he sieges 2 of the Elven strongholds, even though they're at war, to prevent them from mustering any other units next round if he does so happen to roll a Will of the West or a muster. And here, Faulty decides to play Axe and Bow versus moving. I think here, even though there's a high chance of getting revealed, you're going to want to move the Fellowship as fast as possible. And because you have Gandalf the Grey here, you're gonna want to try to get rid of him. Playing Axe and Bow, I mean, you're gonna have a very healthy Fellowship, but you're deterring a potential Gandalf the White next round, and or Strider. Or maybe he's deciding, yeah, I don't know. This move is controversial. It's good. On one hand, it's very good on preventing corruption, but I think I'm gonna want to get rid of Gandalf the Grey here. Here, Peter plays On the Way They Went, preparing the Mordor track if they ever decide the Fellowship ever gets there. Here, he overdraws cards. He's going to have to get rid of a couple of cards here. I think, as a Free People player, I would get rid of the End card here. Or maybe the Spirit card. Gandalf the White's not in play. I don't know when that's going to happen. He doesn't look like he's going to be mustering Isengard. And he actually kills the Great Company, so he does not expect, or since he already has an abundance of cards, maybe Strider, he doesn't expect Strider to be of much use to him. Doesn't look like there's going to be a Gondor attack either. Here, the Fellowship obviously declares, gets away from a Nazgul. The Shadow player doesn't get another reroll. Allocates an eye, rolls an eye, and he quickly plays Thranduil's archers. That's something Peter did not want to see. Here, Oleg Haig's plane reinforces his Woodland Realm army. Here, the Fellowship moves. Safe. He finally musters in the Witch King. Turn 6? It's a very late Witch King, but those musters were very hard to come by. He reinforces another elite here, so he's not giving up. So here, Peter does have to decide, does he want to quickly try to... Does he think he have enough units to capture Woodland Realm and hold it? Or does he go somewhere else? He decides to move the Southern Easterling. He was going to try to reinforce that army with the Easterling armies here. Moves them to war. Does a double army move. Has a full 10 army coming from the east. Here, he just plays Farmer's Ranger just for the recruit ability. He doesn't get the attack, but sometimes just having the recruit ability is worth it. Here, he attacks Woodland Realm with the Witch King. Probably playing this card. I don't think he's going to be using... or attacking Gondor anytime soon. Yes, he does. He also again predicts Books of Mazrabul, negating the combat effect version of it. Ooh. Luckily he prevents 1 hit. Oh. And the Free will get 4 hits onto the Shadow player. That was devastating. Here, turn 6. Again, here, the Fellowship declares in Carrick. instead of Rosgabil. Usually, if you have a choice, you're going to want to declare in Carrick because Carrick has a free people settlement. If the Fellowship is in a settlement, cards that require the Fellowship to not be in it can't be played. So this is a perfect example here. Here, the Peter has Orc Patrol. It says play if the Fellowship is not in a region containing a free people settlement. Because he's in Carrick, that prevents him from ever playing this card until he is revealed outside of it or he declares outside. And at this point, he may even decide to use this as a combat card instead. Peter again allocates 1. He says he wants to go full combat. He says the Fellowship is moving too slowly. He still thinks he's able to get a free people military victory before the Fellowship can dunk the ring. He quickly moves. He's safe. The Southern Easternling army slowly marches. Prepares looks like maybe an attack onto Gondor, going to Umbar and reinforce the Woodland Realm. A new power is rising. This is one of the best mustering cards in the game. Looks like he may be preparing a attack on Rohan. He does a double army move. He reinforces Woodland Realm and moves from North Dunland to South Dunland. Free people pass again, and now he launches an attack. Free people decide not to play a card. Pits of Mordor is played. Here, I think I might have saved Pits of Mordor in my opinion, just so I can reinforce Moria and Dol Guldur if Lorien ever needs more help, or if I want to launch an attack on Rivendell or an attack on Rohan. But Desperate Battle is also a very good card. I mean, if he doesn't play this, I don't see any other card he could play. Maybe Orc Patrol. I think I'd consider playing Orc Patrol since the Fellowship is pretty safe here. I have 1 die in the box. Yeah, I mean, this can't be wrong either. Desperate Battle is very good. And unfortunately, it does not help, but it does help him recycle a card. Another 3 hits to the Woodland Realm. The Woodland Realm is holding very, very strong here for FaultyLogic. He draws the Day Without Dawn. This is a great card. All the nations are at war, and he hasn't gotten Aragorn or Gandalf the White yet. So that's a great time to draw, and ever in a position to finally summon them, Day Without Dawn can be played. So I have a feeling he might be holding on to that card for a while. We'll see. Here he does Voice of Saruman. He switches 2 regulars for 2 elites. The free people play Grimbjorn, gets an elite and a leader into Carrick. This is turning into a very strong army. So if the Shadow doesn't quickly capture Woodland Realm, there may be an army coming on its doorsteps, and capturing Woodland Realm may be next to impossible. Great card. Shadow draws a card, Horde from the East. He has another 5-unit army if he decides he needs it. He musters an army in Rivendell, surprisingly. This is interesting. I don't know if I would have put an elite in Rivendell. I think another tactic is maybe put Gondor to war. Here, Peter doesn't seem like he has any army units moving towards Rivendell. He actually gets rid of some of the precious elite units that can be used for Círdan's ships or reinforcing Lorien with the card. Here, I don't know if that was the best move, especially since you also have the North Army here that protects the Grey Havens and that could potentially launch an attack on Rivendell if he decides to attack Rivendell. I think here moving Gondor to war would have been the better move. Or even Rohan to closer, since you see that he's preparing an attack on Rohan. Here, Peter decides to attack once more. You always want to play a card to recycle with the Witch King. He again plays Orc Patrol. It doesn't seem like the Fellowship is going to be in a non-settlement area anytime soon. Ooh, finally, Peter gets 4 hits here, and Faulty gets 3 back at him. And with only 1 regular left, does Peter decide to downgrade and continue? I think in this position, I would, since I know also I have Horde from the East as well. And of course he does. No card. He rolls that 1/6, and the 1/6 that's needed. He captures Woodland Realm. So any attack possibility will have to go into a stronghold attack, which is very unlikely to happen to win. But we'll see what the PPO player does. Yep, he does decide to try to retake Woodland Realm. Takes his whole army. Oh, interesting move. Peter decides to move most of his army from Woodland Realm into Dale. So he says, if you decide to waste an action to Woodland Realm, I'm going to re-attack you in Dale. Though this army is a lot bigger, I don't know if it'd be the best idea to do so. Alright, round 7. Mithril Coat. And the last battle is drawn for the free people. The Palantir of Orthanc, a great card. And the Shadows Gather, another great card here, which can be used in conjunction with Horde from the East if he ever decides to do so. Faulty kills the Ents. Gandalf the White is nowhere near in sight of being in play. He's not dead. He's not guaranteed a Will of the West. I think that's the right decision there. And the Shadow here has to kill 2 cards. I think here I kill Lore of the Ring here. I think I'm going to have to. It doesn't look like the Fellowship's going to be revealed anytime soon. And I think card Isildur's Bane is very good. If he ends up drawing a 3, this can be so good, so devastating for the Fellowship. But I think in this position, I get rid of Threats and Promises and Lure of the Ring. Let's see what Peter does. He gets rid of Threats and Promises and Lure of the Ring, yeah. Allocates 1 eye, rolls 0. Oh, this is an amazing attacking round for the Shadow. He can do massive amounts of damage, possibly capturing the whole Rohan and even Lorien at this point with this roll. With the Fellowship only rolling 2 musters, I don't know if he'll be able to take or capture Woodland Realm. So this is the problem with not having the extra die. 4 dice is so hard, so hard to win. With Gandalf still in the Fellowship and Strider still also in the Fellowship, it's gonna be a tough game. Tough round. He decides to move right away. Rolls a 3, he's safe. He plays a Palantir, great card. Now, here, as the Fellowship, I mean, at least this is just in my opinion, whenever the Palantir is played and the Shadow has at least 1 other Palantir in his action die pool, you immediately just get rid of it. Even at the cost of a ring, just do it, because you don't know when the next time you're going to roll a Will of the West, and having him cycle through cards is just an amazing advantage that you can't let the Shadow player have. So if I was a 3 people player here, I'd just immediately get rid of it. Plays the Nazgul Strike, nice. And he's gonna get rid of the Axe and Bow. Another strategy card. Plays Horn of Gondor. He says you get rid of Axe and Bow, I'll play my Horn of Gondor. Here he attacks Fords from Orthanc. Gandalf the White is nowhere to be seen. He can probably move the entire army if he probably wants to, which I think he probably will at this point. We play Scouts. Unfortunately, Rage of the Dunlendings too. So it looks like he will be using Shadows Gather to move this army into Rohan. No, maybe he's not. He's gonna hold on to Shadows Gather for a better, more opportune moment. Here he does a double army move. He splits the 6 army from Gap of Rohan, summon to Orthanc and summon to Fords of Isen. Passes again. He attacks Helm's Deep with a full 10 army. Yeah, Rohan does not stand a chance. But if he does decide to capture Helm's Deep, he's gonna let Edoras muster. So I think at this point here, he's gonna use his remaining 2 dice to capture Westmint and Fold, and then attack Edoras afterwards to prevent heavy mustering here. Oh, I must have missed a movement from Rivendell too, as well, as he's gonna try a Free People military victory. Oh wow, I didn't even see this at all. So this blinded me as well. He's gonna have hard time capturing these with 2 regulars in here, or 2 regulars with 1 in each. I think he's gonna be forced to use a ring here to up his military chances, because I don't think his ring bearer chances, he's still pretty far, but well, we'll have to see. Let's see what he does here. Yep, he uses a ring, captures Moria. Oh, nice. And Peter just smartly takes his army from Lorien, brings it into Dimra Dale, and says that you're not going to capture Moria. However, this also leaves him open to an attack in Lorien, which also does mean that he's going to have to re-siege this, and perhaps even siege it with a bigger army. Let's see what he decides to do. Round 8. Fellowship is okay. He has to allocate the 1 eye, of course. He rolls 1 eye, and he rolls another great attacking roll, and 2 Will of the West here. As always, as the Free People player, standard, if all Shadow Nations are at war, you have to use at least 1 of your Will of the West as your first action before you pass, just in case he has the Day Without Dawn card, which in this case, Peter does. Faulty, of course, uses it. He's gonna siege Dol Guldur. He's gonna let the Moria army get attacked by the Stimrel Dale army here. So I think this is a very crucial decision here. Do you go for Moria and try to capture your, for sure, Moria stronghold here? Because I think with 3 elites, you get 3 combat dice with 1 reroll, so essentially 4 dice to hit at least once. Is combat cards, he doesn't have anything that'll help him, so 4 at 6 for that 1. I think in this case, because if he gets attacked by Dimrel Dale, there's no chance that this army is surviving, because at least if the Shadow attacks him here, you can retreat to the North Anduin Vale, and I guess since he can't recapture Dale, this would be quite the decision. Yeah, I'm not sure what would be the correct answer here too, because either way, if you capture Moria, he attacks you in the Narrows of the Forest, you retreat to North Anduin Vale. If he brings his entire army here, you're kind of screwed either way. So here, Peter, of course, attacks Moria, plays Daylight, he gets 1 hit. Faulty rolls 3. He also gets 1 hit. He's gonna have to press. Faulty definitely stays. He has to stay for this. Plays shield wall. Oh, very nice. He rolls no hits. Great for the elves here. 2 hits to the shadow. I think you still press here. If I'm shadow, I still press. No cards. With five dice, I think my 5 dice beat his 3 dice here. Peter rolls 1 hit, gets it. He presses. I press until this army is dead, essentially. Faulty gets 2 hits. Gets 1 back at him. Presses 3 against 3. Oh, it's gonna come down. If he gets lucky, Faulty rolls 1, and Peter rolls nothing. This is great. Oh, and he finally stops. I think here again, do I go for it for 3 dice? I think I have to. I have to pray that I get lucky. He rolls way too many, so he just rolls the 5. Oh no, he attacks Demerald Dale. I see what happened. He didn't attack Dolgador. Or oh, I see what's happening. He's using the North Army to attack Dolgador. Again, Faulty does not get that 1/6 that he needs. Unfortunately, he presses. Oh, he still does not get it. That 6 is so elusive. He's just he's gonna try to capture this in one go. Finally gets it. Gets the 1 back at him. The free people are on the board. Shadow musters 1 in Mount Gundabad. Looks like he sees an empty Rivendell. That's very prime for the taking, but since the North at war, he can try to reinforce Rivendell, and he also has reinforcements in his stock as well. The free people uses a ring with this muster die. He's gonna try to go for it. If he gets this 1 lucky, if he gets this will be a game changer, because with his current dice, he'll need 1 action, 2 action, 3 actions. 1, 2, so he'll have 2 attacks on Dolgador to wipe them out if Faulty gets lucky and captures Moria. Oh, he does not get it on his combat roll. What does free people roll? No, he doesn't get it again. Unfortunate. Boo. And so he's gonna have to wait another round to try to win. And at that point, I don't think he'll be able to hold on to Dolgador with a fresh 7 dice attacking Dolgador. I don't know. It's gonna be tough for him. Oh right, since Faulty used the ring this round, he cannot use a ring to change this Palantir into a muster, giving the shadow a free stronghold. Oh, this is worst case scenario here. Use the ring, he does a double army move, capturing Rivendell and go towards Dolgador. This just decreased the free people's chance of winning drastically. Ooh, here Faulty uses Guahir, brings out Gandalf and a Hobbit and Gimli to defend Dolgador. He captures, and turn 9 is played here. Usually by turn 9, you're gonna want the Fellowship to be at least on the track or very close to the track. The Shadow's probability of winning goes up drastically. At least that's the experience from what I've had. Usually if you're not on the track by turn 9, Shadow usually gets it by then. Usually has it. And here, surprisingly, so here's actually, maybe not surprisingly, but here is a interesting decision. Faulty decides to declare in North Ronvinian, and of course, instead of staying Carrick. So I guess the trade-offs here are, do you want an additional reroll since he covers one of the conditions that a Nazgul and or a army unit is there? So that means if there's 2 eyes in the box, he'll get 2 rerolls. However, by moving out of Carrick, he loses the protection of being in a free people settlement. So even though this is captured, those cards that say that he needs to be in a free people settlement, just because it's captured, he would still be protected by being in there. So this was an interesting move. It's a trade-off here, because even by declaring in the North Ronavian here, he still gets a reroll, but will that 1 additional reroll really hurt you? I mean, I don't know. I think seeing how I am in the Fellowship, I think I would still be in Carrick at this point. I think I would, but there's no wrong answer here either. By declaring, he also prevents one of the cards that says the revealed play of the Fellowship is 1 or higher. So I don't know. Here Peter goes, yep, he goes straight for military victory. He says he has 5 points. He has another 3 points here in Rohan. That'll be 8 points, and he'll get 1 either in Erebor or even in Lorien. So he says that he's gonna capture his 5 points before you can even reach Mordor, which I think that's kind of my feeling here too. I don't think the Fellowship has a chance of reaching Mordor yet, especially with 4 dice. Gandalf the White is still not here yet, and Strider is not crowned. Here he passes Shadow of the Misty Mountain. Oh, not the card. Oh, this is tough. So here, in hindsight, I think you use a ring here, and you try to capture Moria, and you force the Shadow to win on military, which with 4 attacks, on two enemies, I think that's very likely, but all in hindsight. Here now, Moria is definitely 100% not going to be captured, and that just basically just calls it. So that forces the Fellowship to win by dunking the ring. I don't see. So he has to wait at least best case scenario, even with no character dice too. That's tough. Yeah, I think Peter wins it. We can just call it here. And with that mustering and Moria, Peter no longer has to worry about Dol Guldur. He can use his other army units, his other dice to capture Rohan with the lightly defended. I don't see them. Yep, I don't see them putting up much of a fight. Ooh, Peter gets 3 hits, 1 back at them, 2 regulars and Helm's Deep. He decides to not downgrade. He wants to save this big army to make sure he has enough units to capture Edoras as well. Ooh, Deadly Strife, great card to play when the free people have fewer than, I would say, 3 army units. So at most he gets 3 hits. Mithril Code Instinct gets played. He moves into Westmint. Here, I don't know if this is right here. Faulty plays Path of the Wozes, moving this army probably into Minas Tirith or Osgiliath. Since I guess he's saying that he doesn't really have many dunking chances, he's going to try to go full military. He captures it. Now he only really needs 1 stronghold. I think if he just leaves a few units in Dol Guldur and actually just goes towards Lorien with this army here actually. So yeah, so it actually he doesn't even have to move the Dol Guldur army. If he just moves these 4 elites and some units from Dol Guldur into Lorien to capture that final stronghold, I think he wins it. But if they get some unlucky rolls, Gondor can potentially go to war, get mustered into war, and move into Rohan. So at this point, I think I would move some units to fortify Rohan here, move 2 or 3 elites into Lorien, and move 4 or 5 units from Dol Guldur into Lorien. Here, Peter just musters, doesn't want to use a ring. I don't think there needs to be a reason for him to use a ring now. Turn 10, Riders of Theoden. That could have been a great card to muster in Edoras. War with Soil, and Shadow Lengthens. This is an amazing card for the Shadow right now. So I think Peter wins it this round, depending on his roll. Ooh, he gets 3 attacks with the ring, 4 attacks maybe. We'll see what happens. Finally gets his Will of the West. I don't know if he turns Gandalf the White here though, because that just might be a waste. Because he just might be immediately destroyed if he does. So moves the Fellowship for free, no eyes. Oh, he plays Day Without Dawn. Gets rid of his 1 Will of the West, so no Gandalf the Palantir card. Okay, yep. Just saying, so he wants to make sure he draws his place. Shadows Gather. I think, yep, he moves his 3 army into Lorien. He's gonna capture this 2-point stronghold. He's a full 10 army in Lorien. He's bluffing that he has the Corsairs card here. Oh, he actually also does have the Corsairs card too, so if he does decide to end up going, that might be the better choice. So here, do you go for Dol Amroth or Lorien? I think here you go for Dol Amroth. These 3 units, easy for the taking. You have Onslaught, you have Muma Kill, you have Relentless Assault. It seems like Dol Amroth is falling. Muma Kill gets played. Oof, tough. Oh, and 2 hits. And since the free people only rolled 1 hit, he gets an additional hit from Muma Kill. And I think that's game. There's no way for the free people to take back a stronghold. And even if he does manage to capture Moria, in the case of a tie, of a military victory, Shadow wins. Well, and here you see a little conversation from Faulty and Peter. I do think that even if Moria was captured at that point and he didn't play the Mountains of Moria card, I think that Peter had enough cards or enough action dice to recapture Dol Guldur, and the free people would still be at 2 points. So I'm not sure. I think Shadow would have won this either way, but again, this was a great game, and I'll see you guys in the next game for game 2 of the 2019 World Championship.